morning. I split this half tote of walnut. There's some hickory and stuff on the bottom on the Split Fire 1165. This is gonna be going to Kentucky for our wood stoves. I'm gonna be taking it to Tully's because I'm gonna need to burn this in less time than it needs to dry, I think. I want to split one open here, see what the moisture content is in it, and I wanna weigh it, see how much it weighs. And then I wanna do it again after we get it back from Tully's kiln. I'm gonna load this in a little dump trailer, take it over there. He'll juice it in the kiln for probably a couple weeks. Make sure all the bugs are dead in it. That's another benefit of kiln dried wood. Let's see where it comes in, and we'll do it again when we get back. I was just gonna crack this with an axe, and then I thought, why would I do that? All right, we'll turn on our moisture meter here, put it right in the middle. I'm calling that 40%. I know this stuff is super wet because it is literally wet to the touch, even before you split it. I think that's all we need. This little scale has some insane rating, probably a lot higher than this hook. 849.6. All right, so let's call it 40% moisture and 850 pounds. Maybe one of you can write that down so we remember. I got her all loaded up in a little B-Wise deck over dump trailer here. Perfect for 2 totes. Thought maybe the little Colorado would be kind of squatty with that trailer on there. Looks like it'll ride pretty nice. I do think I need to get a taller ball. Anyways, let's get this down to Tully's and get it unloaded. Well, we made it down here to Tully's shop, no problem. He's not here, so I'm gonna go ahead and unload these. He's got the kiln running with some other stuff in it, so we won't really be able to go in there and take a look. And I'll be in Kentucky when these go in, I believe. So we'll probably take a look when we come to unload them, but I think he's just gonna take care of it whenever he does that. You know, this kiln, we'll walk over there and take a look at the outside in a minute here. It's not a real high-tech, I wouldn't say, piece of equipment. You know, it's kind of just a big insulated room, and it will take the temp up to 150 degrees for a few hours. That's what it takes to kill the bugs. Firewood's a lot different than, you know, he does a lot of slabs and lumber and things like that. When you're doing those, you want it to get up to temp slowly and exhaust the moisture and dry slowly, otherwise it warps and cracks. We don't really care if the firewood does it, so it's just going to juice it all the way up, drop it down to efficient temp, and then keep it there until it's dry and then turn it back off. So I think he's just going to throw these two in the kiln by themselves, juice them for science sake, and then we'll come pick them up when they're done. All right, successful. Tully's dog likes me less than all other human beings. No harm, no foul though. Just had to bribe him with a piece of cheese, get him in the office. Better stop talking and pay attention here. I'm gonna stab something I don't want to with the forklift. This forklift's a lot bigger than mine, same brand. It has things like working emergency brake and it's a lot faster. You can get in trouble with this one. Try not to run you guys over. Also dries in the gravel, that's nice. Hickory's heavy. I'll take you guys with me so he doesn't pull in here and run you over. So here's the kiln. You can access it from inside that door right there, or you can come outside through this door. You can see he's got a whole bunch of these slabs that he's been drying in here. These came from a tree that I had cut down, these big walnut slabs. Let's go outside and take a look. So this is it. As you can see, it's just from here over to this wall. He's got kind of this privacy wall so they don't have to look at all the junk out here from his house. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this stuff here and get out of here, but I'll come back when it's done. Maybe we can catch it when we pull it out. Probably not. They'll probably turn it off and just set them outside. But we could probably take a look at it then if they don't fill it up right away. You know, I had somebody in the comments that I was talking back and forth, talking about transporting firewood across state lines. We'll head back and pick this up at my place. All right, well, it's a couple days later. I'm back here at the house, and I thought, you know what? That kiln is full right now and running its cycle, and it's going to be a couple weeks till it's empty. Tully's going to Alaska. I'm going to Kentucky, but it brought up some interesting points. Kiln drying firewood, you know, crossing state lines with firewood, and bugs are the big concern, right? I don't want bugs in my firewood, so I love this idea, heat treating it, kiln drying it, which heat treating gets the wood to a higher temperature to kill the larvae from the bugs. But I found here some of the stuff about moving firewood across state lines. This is from my state of Illinois. Some of these regulations are state done, but this is an article from the Illinois Agricultural Department. It's talking about the emerald ash borer. That's the big one by us. And it's saying that the entire state of Illinois is under quarantine. Let me see here. The USDA currently has the entire state of Illinois federally regulated quarantine for emerald ash borer, as it considers the entire state of Illinois to be generally infested. They've got some stuff in the article about what you can do, what this means to firewood distributors, things you could do to remove it. And it says it doesn't just have to be heat treated. There are other options like removing the bark and an additional 1/2 inch of the wood to the cambium layer, follow kiln drying treatment, maximum thickness for the wood if you just kiln dry it is 3 inches, fumigate according to treatment schedule, or heat treatment. So I don't want to put a bunch of chemicals on it. We're certainly not going to do that. The difference when they talk about kiln drying, Tully and I were talking about this, if you're doing slabs or lumber, you want to bring it up to temp really slow, maybe not get it too hot too long. You still have to kill the bugs in lumber as well. But it's a much slower deal to keep the wood from cracking, warping, whatever. When you put firewood in there, you really don't care. In his kiln, we'll actually drill a hole and put a probe in there so it measures in multiple locations. We'll do the hickory and the walnut separate to make sure the middle of it gets that high. One of you guys, one of the viewers, talking about be careful of state regulations and moving across state lines. And I've certainly moved logs back and forth, lumber, things like that. I think the lumber, because a lot of it you're cutting, you know, all the bark in that cambium layer off or you can't use it, probably fine. Typically, a lot of the lumber we got, I bought logs that came from Georgia to Illinois and then went back to Kentucky. But the firewood in particular, he had gotten a ticket driving a semi at a DOT inspection site. And I thought he was talking about hauling a load of logs, but he had just some personal use like campfire wood in the toolbox under his semi. And they gave him a ticket for that. He kind of determined maybe they were trying to mess with him and looking for something to fine him for, but not to say you couldn't. And here I'm hauling whole totes across the line. So one of the biggest things I think that makes what I'm doing could be considered questionable is that we do not have a federal license for kiln drying this wood. It would certainly meet the standards. So as far as doing the right thing, I think that you could probably talk to someone. I don't know if you want up getting a ticket for it. Maybe we'll make a video on that. Put it in a tote, maybe throw a tarp over it, and you take your chances. But I at least want to be able to say that we did the right thing and it was done the right way. So I'm gonna split up some more of this. Well, maybe you know what? Maybe the wood's dry now. I'm kidding. It's gonna be like a month from now. We'll revisit this when we get to the kiln. Okay, so I'm back from Tully's and I got this tote. This was in his kiln for, I think, about 3 days. And that's more than enough for the heat treating to get this wood over 150 degrees, I think it is, for like 3 hours. We were like 48 hours. So bugs, everything are dead. Ideally, I'd have probably kept it in for another 2 days. You'd have had this thing into single digits. But we pulled it out because he had to go to Alaska. So I wanted to get it out of there. You could see here's a couple holes. I had this tote here, a full tote of just walnut and 2 totes of hickory. And the way the kiln works is you put these probes into the wood. They read from, far down into the middle of the wood, and they give you your temperature reading. It'll give you one from each of 5 probes. So we only had 4 totes, so 1 in each tote, and it'll give you an overall average reading of what's in the kiln. So it's pretty accurate. It's just a big insulated room, and it's got a unit that does the heat, ventilation, dehumidification, and then there's kind of a brain box that's outside of there because that room is like about 150 degrees. You can't be in there, nor can your equipment, and that'll give you a reading. So when we weighed this before, it was 850 pounds for this small tote. I thought it was all walnut, but there's a lot of hickory on the bottom. Walnut and hickory combination, and I think it was at 40%. His probes were reading higher moisture than that. Some of the stuff I had split before that was all hickory, was like 70%, which seems really high. But anyways, I'm gonna call this 40%. I'm gonna weigh this, see if it is at all lighter. I think it is. And then we'll split one open and test the moisture. $629. So let's call it 629.8. We'll call it 630. So we went from 850 to 630. That's impressive. That's 220 pounds. It's like over 20% lighter. Interesting. Let's put it down and we'll crack one open and see what we get. Got a nice fat one. All right, so in my head, if you got a 10-pound piece of wood and it's 50% moisture, that means 5 pounds of water and 5 pounds of wood. But it doesn't really work that way. Water and wood fiber don't weigh the same. So if this is 40% moisture, it's hard to say because even from species to species, the wood will weigh different, the wood portion of that. So if you had it at 0%, still a tote of oak's gonna weigh more than a tote of pine. So it's a little bit hard to calculate how much it is. Now I could definitely tell you that that tote went down, what was it, 850 to 630, 220 pounds of moisture, which is nuts because that's almost 30 gallons of moisture that came out of a half tote at 8 pounds per gallon. That's crazy. I'm gonna find my moisture meter real quick. Hang tight. Where are you? Did I actually put it back where it belongs? All right, I gotta turn you guys off and really go look. Okay, I'm back, and I got my moisture meter. Turn her on. Hi-yo. Well, that definitely split like it's dry. It's funny, I can tell there on that side which one came undone. All right, let's test the middle here. OL, I don't know what that means. OL, go on the side here. Might just mean low. 2.0%. OL, I think that means 0 or low. Let's go on the side. 0. How about on that side? 0.2. I'd say that's pretty low, which I thought, no way the thing was reading 20%. That seems like for walnut, but I think that's on the hickory. And it makes sense. If that thing is 30 gallons of, how much water can really be in wood? Apparently a lot. 30 gallons of water in half a tote. So that's pretty awesome. I think this stuff obviously will burn very well. Man, we almost didn't even need it in the kiln that long. Definitely didn't need it the extra 2 days, so I'm pumped. I'm gonna take this stuff to Kentucky. I have no problem from an ethics standpoint, taking this across the state line. It's clearly bug-free and plenty dry for the wood stove. If anything, I'm gonna have to worry about how fast it burns in there. We're gonna go through a lot of wood. But next time you guys see this tote, it'll be in the back of my Duramax, headed 500 miles south of here to our place in Kentucky. I'm gonna stack it on the porch, and I doubt if it'll be hot enough this trip to have a fire in a wood stove. You never know. Even if it was 80, that'd be a lot cooler than the last time we're there. Might be cold. Anyways, we'll see you then. Thanks.